Hi, I'm Elemi from Yeyeo Botanica. Welcome back. So great to see you all. Thank you for sharing us and coming back. And if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Remember, we're www.yeyeo, and we are a spiritual and wellness supplier, which is why I do videos about all things spiritual. And I'm Elemi. I want to shout out all my people from North Dakota. Woohoo! Love you all. Thank you for sharing us and coming back. So, have you ever wondered if you were making any mistakes when using sage or smudging at all? Well, I'm going to give you a few things you definitely don't want to do. So, let's get started. There are many videos out there on what is sage and all of that. So we're not going to go into all of the nuances of sage. We know that sage is used spiritually for a lot of different purposes. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to give you some ideas on what not to do. What are mistakes when using sage and smudging, but definitely with sage. So one of the things is when you're finished using sage, you need to put it out on something dry, right? A lot of times people tell me, oh, it won't light. It won't light after the first time that I use it. How did you put it out? Well, you know, the sink was wet, so I thought that was a good way to turn it off really quick. So I put it. Water is going to make the sage not burn properly or sometimes not come back on. So definitely no water on sage when putting it out or when using it in general. The other one is using sage to remove dark energies. So one day we were smudging a space, and all of a sudden the sage went to just this barely being on. And so I said, well, that's negative energy, because it's not able to be lively and burn the way that you would expect it to. So sage really is not to be used for removing strong negative spirits, strong negative energies. It's good for clearing, cleansing, kind of moving energies out, but not for very dark or heavy energies. The other one is sage is not traditionally used for love work. So some of you who are burning your sage while you're doing your love spells and things like that, sage is not traditionally used for that kind of work because it's very ceremonial. It was first used around ceremony to call in spirits, to bless a space, right? So this idea of using it around love work, it's really not for that. And I would also say, just as a little sweet thing, it's not for negative work, right? Sage is not normally used for love work. And my sweet thing for this video is it's not normally used for negative work, right? The other thing is have to open the windows. So if you have a space and you are saging, you need to open the windows, open the door. The space needs to be ventilated so that there's a circulation of air. So whatever you're clearing or bringing in, it needs a way. You need to open something for it to invite it in or to send it out. So one day, just quick tidbit, I had a person who came in and they were buying sage in the store, and I just said, oh, remember to open the windows, and they just kind of gave me this blank look, and the person said, I never open the windows. I said, well, how long have you been saging? They're like, oh, you know, I sage pretty often. I sage maybe every other week. And you've never opened the windows, never opened the door. They're like, no. I said, well, how's the energy in the apartment? Oh, well, I thought maybe I need to start using something else, and the sage wasn't working. The sage was just fine. The space is not right, and the procedure was incorrect. So remember to ventilate the space. And lastly is using sage on charcoal. So using sage on charcoal is really not necessary. So sage falls in the category of being a self-lighting incense. Self-lighting incense. And if you'd like me to do a video on self-lighting incense, definitely comment below, because self-lighting incense are a little bit different, and they've also opened the way for a lot of new types of incense in the marketplace. So definitely, if you want to see a video on self-lighting, comment below. But sage is not something that you need to put on charcoal. Once in a while, people will be buying charcoal discs, and they're like, oh, this is for my sage. Unless you have loose sage, and you want the loose sage to burn longer, then putting it on charcoal is totally fine. Mixing it with resin on charcoal is totally fine. But just normally using your smudge stick, it's not necessary. So, gave you some ideas on some mistakes or things not to do when using sage, and I hope that helps you in your work, and all the luck in the